Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're doing another AFL fantasy team preview. This time we are up to the Port Adelaide Power. Only 6 more to go, including this one. Port Adelaide are a team that's definitely interesting. Giving away Dan Houston for not many fantasy assets does probably open up a little bit more scoring opportunity in their half-back line. I think also their midfielders are very, very underpriced. So what do we have here? 4, 5, 6. We've got 7 guys. One of them is going to be a couple of them are going to be pretty damn obvious because they are the highest scoring guys. But anyway, let's just jump into this video here. So as you can see here, I will do this again where I've got Port Adelaide up on the screen here. Well, not Port Adelaide exactly, but the AFL fantasy positions. You will see that I have, I've got Port Adelaide highlighted. We'll go through this. I usually lose track of it. Everyone knows that by now. So yeah, let's just go through. Kane Farrell, I don't see much value there. If we just go to, I think it's this one. This is my Western Bulldogs research, which you'll get to in a couple days' time. But Kane Farrell here, you will see. I don't think there's too much value, to be honest. He had a high season of 78. But maybe he is that guy that takes over from Dan Houston. I don't think it necessarily is. So I'm not too worried about him, to be honest with you, if he does go off, etc. Because he'll be pretty low owned, I think, to start the year. And that's sort of the one guy that I didn't really have on my sort of menu. Miles Bergman, also on my community options Google Doc that I'm going to finally release once on like the 2nd or 3rd. I'm going to make it live for you guys so that you can add your guys in, etc. with hopefully the same formatting. But yeah, we'll get to that later. Miles Bergman, another guy here, you'll see I haven't added him to the Google Doc. I just don't think he's the guy that really takes over for Dan Houston. Logan Evans is the one guy that I've sort of got here. And I mean, he goes against all principles that I've sort of said, saying that there's 30 points of value, but it's more so the role that I think he could get. As I do believe there is 30 points potentially of value, given that Dan Houston was a 94 scorer and he's a 69.6 in the regular season is Logan Evans, 66.4 across everything. But yeah, I think there is potentially 25 points of value, not actually 30. Let me actually just change that to 25 points of value to go in line with to go in line with Dan Houston's average from last year. So yeah, I think there is a little bit of value there for him. We'll see if he obviously eclipses that, but he is just the guy here. In his 2024 campaign, finals and regular season, 13 games, 66.4. Fancy average, 12.3 kicks, 3.4 handballs, 5.5 marked, and 1.6 tackles, and had 26 kick-ins at 92%. I think that is one of the big kickers. If I just scroll all the way back up to Houston, I probably should have hotkeyed this in, or Command F'd it in. Where is it here? 1 second here, Harry Perriman. Dan Houston had 80 kick-ins, so there's 80 kick-ins to be spread around somewhere, and I have a feeling that Logan Evans is going to be the guy that picks it up, given that he was already averaging some kick-ins already at the back end of the year. So I think he could potentially gain, a good 2 or 3, that would be 2 or 3 kick-ins a game further. So he'd gain another, 9 points or so. So that's already 9 points. Better distributing role should allow him to get even more points. So it's a big preseason watch amongst all the other distributors at Port. And then we go across here. Burton, don't think he does anything. Alirali is a key. Josh Sin, I looked at him, but I didn't really like the look of it anyway. If I just go here and show you guys. Josh Sin, I think, is this sort of guy that we look at and then we don't, and then we look at again. It's going to be priced 6 games at 51, going to be priced at roughly, that gives me, 12% discount, so that would be like a 45 or something. I don't really like that necessarily too much, but there could be some value there, given that if you take away his that 40 or whatnot, then he comes priced at 53.3, 53.4 in 5 games. So will be interesting. I just don't think he's the guy to turn to for Port. Nope. Zach Thatcher, he's a key. Radically is a key. Lockie Jones, no, as well. Rory Atkins, potentially, if he gets game time, but it sounds like he's more of a Sandful pickup. Dylan Williams as well, 5 games of 40. If we go back to this one here as well, I think Dylan Williams could potentially be another guy that we look at, but I don't think so as well. We know that his rookie year or his secondary year, he had really good running. But looking at this as well, you can see that in 2024, he didn't really have that good of a run. So maybe he is the guy that picks it up, given that he'll have... But then again, if you look at it again, he had 5 games at 40 but then if you look at this, you'll see that he had a 60 in the previous season, so that'll be marked down from his previous year. So 5 games at 60 is being priced at 15% off of 60, which is priced at 51. So he's already above what he scored at last year and above what he scored at with full games. So there's just no value there, in my opinion. No, Parker Patton, no. Moss is the only guy, and I honestly did not even look at him. Jacob Moss. Or I might have looked at him and then he's the Cat B rookie that I was looking at. So let's just go back here so that it doesn't flick onto another website there. It would be more for my BBL stuff. But anyway, we move on to the midfielders, and this is where I think you'll see a lot of the value for the likes of Port Adelaide. I have, I think, 5 midfielders to go through here from Port. 5 midfielders. First one, Zak Butters. It's probably just a reliable premium on a non-buy reliable player on a non-buy as a premium midfielder in 2025. Doesn't really have much upside, priced at 106.1 or whatever, 106.1, but has seen him going on 9-10 game stretches before of 115 plus, if not 120 in previous years. I think he's just going to be that reliable guy, like I say with Bond in a couple of days time, that if all goes wrong, he's an M8. If all goes right, he's an M1 potential. So that's basically Butters. Then Rozee is going to be the next one that comes up here, I think. 1 second here. Rozee. I really wish they had put another letter here to distinguish Port Adelaide a little bit better. But Rozee, the next one here, averaged 97.1 in the regular season. I think this guy warrants having his stats brought up a little bit. Connor Rozee, if you look at his previous couple of years, he's sort of had that breakout alongside the likes of Butters. And you see that here. And had an injury-restricted 2024, and this is why I sort of wanted to bring him up. If we just look at regular season, they played Geelong first up, so in the final. So if you look at this, and you look at all these, I know he had an injury 100, which was honestly close enough, but if you look at this and you look at everything outside of this sort of 3 games that he had, and I know I'm taking a little bit of a liberty taking these 3 games out, but if you take those games out, and even in taking out this this game here, you start to see that he has 103 average in 16 or 17 games. And this was an injury game here. This was also him just trying to play through injury and he sucked in that game. And then this was his comeback game where he just didn't play in the position that we wanted him really to play in. So this was his regular season in 2024, taking out injuries. That's already, as I suggest when I take out this, he averaged 103.5 or 103.6 or whatever when he had over 70% TOG and was 40% CBAs. I think there might be another game that gets taken out or something, or have I missed out another game or whatever. But he is going to be an absolute gun, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see him step up another level and go to that 104, 105 range again, like he did in 2023 with the 103.5, and that was in the 105.9 in the regular season. So I think that's what he can do, and that is already 8 points of 8 points upside there, which is really, really good to see, and it's definitely a guy that I'm looking at, maybe more so over Butters, just because of the lower price, and you can really go after these guys like him and Petrarca, etc., and spend money elsewhere. But definitely a guy that I'm looking at when he does get that midfield role, which he should realistically get at Port Adelaide. Just in their midfield isn't outside of the top 3 of Horne-Francis, Rozee and Butters. There isn't much left outside of that, so I think he should be getting that full-time midfield role back. As you see here, the midfield role kind of collapsed a little bit just because injuries, I would say more so last year than anything, and also playing some time trying to get back into the team. After injuries, he played some time off ball. Then we go straight down to the basement prize players, and I think you've got effectively three basement prize players here. So let's just go to them. Ollie Wines, don't see much. Drew, don't see much. Burgoyne, no. Boak, no. They're both going to be playing on the wing. Get through all these other guys. Will Lorenz, another guy that I've sort of just highlighted here. If you look at his 2024 Sandful, if I just go to here and go to leagues and go to Sandful, here, let's bring it in line with the VFL, and then go to Will Lorenz. You'll see in 15 games for Port, he averaged 83.9, 12.3 kicks, 8.3 handballs, 3.9 marks, and 4.2 tackles. A really good baseline from him. And yeah, backs up his Coates in 2023 where he had 7 games averaging 84.6. It's hard to get a run in the Port Adelaide side with only 2 games in 2024, both as a substitute, so will be min price in 2025. I think it showed, did it show 2 or 1? 1 game here, so maybe I've missed, maybe he played 1 in, let me actually just double check this. Will Lorenz, it might be 1 in each year. Let's just check. 2 games, oh, it's probably 1 in finals, yeah, 1 in finals, that's what it was. Okay, so yeah, you've got that. Let's go back to his sample stats. Has shown he can score in both under 18s and also can score in the sample. Played most of his junior footy on a wing, so could be an option in 2025 early for Port Adelaide, but will be tough with existing players, plus also the arrival of Christian Moraes, who will most likely get a look in early. I'm just updating my spreadsheet because some of the text is in 12 and I want it in 11 size because that's what I want. So yep, anyway, updated that. There we go. So he's a guy that I'm potentially looking at just because of the sort of role he plays, and I think that wing role, with Travis Boak having that sort of role, and with them probably moving some guys back to cover Dan Houston, I have a feeling that that wing role is starting to have multiple avenues for it to open up, or multiple guys sort of leaving that role. So I think that that is a role that could really average 60 to 70, as we know rookies can do off that wing. We've seen Ollie Hollands do it, we've seen Caleb Windsor do it, etc. So I have a feeling that that is the best role for some guys to come in for. Then we have, we further go down to their guys that don't actually have played a game at all. In Hugh Jackson, he played Sandford the last 2 years. Let's just go here, let's just go Hugh Jackson. There you go. 85.9 in Sandford in 8 games in 2024, and in 2023 in 15 games, 81.2. Was selected at pick 55 in the 21 national draft, but hasn't been able to break into the Port Adelaide side. Has shown he can put up the numbers at Sandford level in the past 24 months, but with more wing on-ball competition coming through in most recent drafts, do they value him having the sort of apprenticeship in the Sandford? Or is it that they go straight for the youngsters in Moraes, and then also like Will Lorenz or other guys that are already in the side that maybe play halfback more regular? So that's why I think could go at almost Hugh Jackson's detriment, is this, that they've really drafted heavily in the wing space. I think in the most recent drafts after him in 2021, like he is into what he's already had 2 years, I think, is it now? 3 years at Sandford level, I believe. So yeah, he's definitely done his time. But it's just whether they go straight for the guys that are sort of younger and higher draft picks. And that genuinely could be the case. So we'll just have to wait and see if that is the case for them, as that would be kind of disappointing for him. Then we get to the likes of Christian Moraes, and these other two I don't have any notes on. Christian Moraes was a guy that I was intrigued as a Swans fan. There was only a good sort of, I would say 10, 15 guys that I was genuinely looking at as a Swans fan. And you can see Luke Kennedy was one of them as well, and he comes up. I don't know if I'll mention him fully in the Western Bulldogs review, or preview, sorry. But he was one that I definitely did look at. You can see that in his 2024 campaign for Colts, Christian Moraes averaged from 12 games 95.1. In his 2023 campaign, he averaged 95.9 from 16 games. And then in the under 18s in 2024, he averaged 86.5 from 4 games. So shows that he has that pedigree there. and has played in multiple positions in the last few years, but can absolutely rack up the pill, which is great for fantasy scoring. He is, I believe, the first or second player that is basement price out of this season's draft, the 2024 crop, and was earmarked to go in the 20 to 30 range, I should say, in the national draft. So he could have easily potentially saved us 30 to 50k, especially if he gets that game early on. I think his endurance and great versatility will give him games early, and is a sneaky rookie of this draft class, like the likes of Ollie Hollands 2 years ago now, as he had a really good campaign and sort of came out of nowhere. I don't remember exactly. Let's just go 2022 AFL draft, I think it was. I know I misspelled that, but doesn't matter. Let's just go to the draft here. I'm pretty sure he was in here. Ollie Hollands, pick 11. So he was a little bit earlier than a lot of people like Moraes and guys like this later on. But he was sort of that first, I would say, winger taken out of this draft class, or winger up front that was taken out of this draft class, as Cam McKenzie sort of turned into a winger. But you can see out of this draft class that guys that have done really well early on have genuinely been the absolute jets, and the key position players or the more contested players haven't really done well, other than Ashcroft, because Ashcroft is Ashcroft. But yeah, if you look at the more contested players, George Wardlaw hasn't really broken out yet. Aaron Cadman hasn't broken out yet. But you've got Sheasel, Speed, Ashcroft, even so he's pretty good on the outside. Sardis, who's an inside guy, hasn't broken out. Neither has Bailey Humphries, really. Neither has McKenzie, Clark, Jimby. Philippou was about to, I feel. But Ollie Hollands has done pretty well. Jasper Fletcher on a wing has done pretty well as well. Elijah Hewitt's about to, I think. So you can just see how that sort of analysis lines up, that the wing players do generally better. And then the last guy that I need to talk about here, because Port Adelaide ruckman Jordan Sweet, I looked at his numbers, they don't look appealing to have a massive jump, or no positional change really for a massive jump. Then the last guy here is Jason Horne-Francis, who's one of the biggest talks of the fantasy preseason due to getting that forward status. And I feel like he is a massive impact per possession player. And so therefore, I don't think he has the real ability to go 100 unless he gets that absolute full-time midfield role. But we've been seeing him in the past get 54% midfield time, which is sort of on the verge of third, fourth midfielder role. So a midfield-centric role given the addition of Jack Lukosius could be really good. As when he's had 50% CBAs or more, his average lifts to 93.5 from 89.5 and removes some of the extremely low scores. If you take it up to 60%, that average holds at 93.4. So that pretty much is the video there, summing up the Port Adelaide Footy Club. I want to keep these short and sweet for you guys, as you guys can also do a lot of your research. We are in the absolute pre-season, so there'll probably be even more content done on these type of teams when we roll around into the pre-season again, as the Christmas break comes in. But anyway, well, this is after Christmas, but when they return to the track in the New Year's. So anyway, if you did enjoy that video on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. If you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a star rating. And I guess I will see you guys in the next preview, which will be the Richmond Tigers, who are just the rookie team, effectively. So you'll get a lot of basement price players, or just a lot of guys under that 340 max rookie price. So I'll see you guys in that video there tomorrow. Bye guys.